Hi everyone, it's Corinne and welcome to this episode of Mindset Mondays. For this week we have a topic that was suggested by a subscriber, so if you have a topic, feel free to suggest one. Just reply to the email or put it in the YouTube comments or whatever you want. So, and I didn't ask if it was okay to use this person's name, so I'm not going to. It's a guy, so we'll just say he. So this person's suggested topic was on managing your sleep as a freelancer and how that relates to the time zones that we work in as people who work across countries. And I thought this is a topic that a lot of us could use because, as my doctor always reminds me, sleep is a nutrient. Just as you would not find it odd if you felt horrible because you had been eating, junk food all the time, sleep is like that too. So I'm sort of either the worst or best person to comment on this because I should say I love to sleep. I have whatever the opposite of insomnia is, that's what I have. But my husband has lifelong chronic insomnia that he actually treated quite successfully. It became pretty debilitating for him. And he treated it quite successfully with cognitive behavioral therapy. So if any of you have never heard of that, it's a kind of talk therapy that focuses not so much on processing your feelings, but on changing the thought patterns that cause the problematic behavior. And it really, really worked for him. So if you have debilitating insomnia, try cognitive behavioral therapy. So this subscriber commented that he sort of naturally sleeps from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. and said this is a lifelong issue that he even remembers when he was a kid, his mom nagging him that he would sleep all day and then only be alert at 10 p.m. So I think as freelancers, we have two issues here, which is managing your sleep cycles and dealing with clients. So number one, I'll tell you from my husband's experience, the best way to modify your sleep times, I think, even though it's super painful to do this is what my husband's doctor had him do. Choose a window of time in which you're going to sleep and only sleep during that time, no matter how little sleep you get at the outset. So for example, when my husband did it, he picked midnight to 8 a.m. and he would get up at 8 a.m. even if he had fallen asleep at 4 a.m. And it's really, really painful, but it was very effective. Now let's talk about client management. So in one sense, I think we work in a 24-hour-a-day profession, and you are never going to cover all of those time zones. So you need to think what is a reasonable accommodation for you to get enough sleep, but be available when your clients need you. So for example, for myself, I am 8 hours behind my clients in Europe. So my reasonable accommodation is that I try to check email by about 7 a.m. my time. So it's 3 p.m. their time. And what I do is while I'm boiling the water for my coffee, actually, I scroll through my emails on my phone, but I have trained myself to only focus on the time-sensitive ones from European clients, not get sucked into the other stuff. And I find I actually like the 8 hours behind schedule because I can generally work uninterrupted in the afternoon, and I have a time advantage over my clients because I'm getting to the office as they're leaving. Another thing I think you could consider is an office hours autoresponder. So I know a couple of translators who work in quite atypical time zones. So let's say they used to live in the US, then they moved to Asia, but their clients are, their clients are in Europe. So they're kind of all over the place in terms of time. So they put an autoresponder on every single day when they leave the office that says, I'll be back in the office at this time. And they put it in either GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, or they'll say New York time. I'll be back in the office at 4 p.m. New York time on Friday. So I think that can be really helpful because it sounds like a small logistical thing, but it can mentally free you. Clients are getting this autoresponder and they know when I'm going to be back rather than thinking, oh no, panic mode, work is coming in and I'm not there to receive it. So those are my tips. Number one, if you have really debilitating insomnia, try cognitive behavioral therapy. Even if you are not a person who feels particularly receptive to talk therapy, I think it can really help. Number two, think about trying to modify your own sleep cycle if it's really problematic. Number 3, make a reasonable accommodation for your client's time zone. And number 4, think about putting on an autoresponder every single day to tell clients when you're going to be back so that you can mentally liberate yourself from the office and actually get some sleep. Thanks.